Welcome to PowerApps with Wes. I'm your host, Wes. Today I'm going to show you guys how I figured out how to make a fade out button I needed it to show users that all the information that they entered on a page before was saved and not lost or whatever. So this is on a production app, but I'm just going to make it for you guys here. And I'll just give you a quick demo here. So this is what happens. You press the button or whatever happens that you've got this action on, and the button comes in and then fades away. All right, so let's just let's start over on everything since I forgot to press the record button last time. So what you'll need for this is you'll need a timer. We'll throw on a timer. We'll call it timer ColorFade. And we'll need two buttons. I use a button on the pop-up button because I wanted to add a radius to it. So we'll add a button and another button. We'll do this one as the pop-up button, and we'll do this one as the action button. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. So we'll call this action button. And again, this can be used on a, so in my case specifically, I use it on a page visible. So like when screen 1 would become visible, the actions that go on this button would actually trigger off. So this one, we'll say this is the saved button. We'll make this 38 and we'll give it a radius like I used in my app. It's like 35. All right, and we don't want this button to actually do anything, so we'll just leave it on view. All right, so we'll do this one as button action, and we'll do this one as the button, and it's the save pop-up. All right, so on to the action. What do we actually want to happen? So the timer, we want it to be 1,000. We only want this pop-up to show up for just a second, so we don't need it to show up for a long time or anything. The timer, we need it to start at a certain time. So we will give it a var start timer ColorFade. ColorFade. And it's like, I don't know what that is because I haven't defined it yet. So on the action button, on select, just two actions. That's all we need. We need set the variable. So set var start timer ColorFade. We'll set it to true. And we also need to set the pop-up visible. So var saved pop-up visible. And we'll also set it to true. This pop-up button needs to be set to visible of var saved pop-up. So right now it's false, and it's going to change to true when you push the button, right? Right. All right, and now on the timer properties, we need to go to on timer end, and we want to do two things on the timer end. We want to set var start timer to false, so when we go to set it to true again, the timer starts over. And we want to set the pop-up visible also to false, so the pop-up button isn't just sitting there transparent, so you can't hover over it. All right, we'll make this pop-up button visible for just a minute for demonstration purposes. All right, so what we're going to do now is actually get the fade out to work properly, and I'll walk you through exactly what's going on in there. So the fill, I want my fill to be green, which can be found on this this website that gives all of the PowerApps colors and RGB value. So in this case, we need to use the RGBA value and not the color value, and I'll explain that why after I show how it actually works. All right. So the green I want is going to be 0 and 128 0. So we'll go over here and change the fill. So that's the fill. Fill right here. We'll change it to be 0, 128, and 0. And then the alpha channel, which controls your button's transparency. Basically, it's kind of like color fading, but it's not color fading because color fade actually goes how much percentage it is white, and the alpha channel is how much your color is transparent. So, and like I said, I'll demonstrate that here after we get this working. So to do this, we're going to do a little bit of math. So we need the timers, duration, and we're going to take away the timer value. So when you start the timer, it counts up in seconds, it counts up in milliseconds, and so we're going to take the duration minus the value, and we're going to divide that by 1,000. This is actually by the timer's total duration, so you could do timer dot duration if you wanted to here, but I just did 1,000 because that's what I wanted my timer to be. All right. We also need to do this for the text, which the text is the color property. We are going to use white, but we still need to fade to clear. So color fade dot duration minus timer color fade dot value, close the parenthesis, divided by timer color fade dot duration. Close out the parenthesis and close out your formula. So this final parenthesis goes to the, let's see if this, yeah, there we go. Makes it a little bit easier to read. So this parenthesis is for here. This parenthesis closes out this part because we want to make sure this calculates before the division, and then the division is calculated there. All right. So now we need to change this visible property so it goes back invisible, and then we can show it off. So we'll go into play mode and we'll press the action button, and there you go. It pops up, you can see it, and then it slowly fades back to clear, and then it goes away completely. So I told you I would demonstrate what happens with the color fade. That's why I've got the background as gray. So if we went to the fill property and instead used a used the color fade method of finding this, which I found originally, but it didn't quite work for me because I always have a background picture on my apps. I don't leave it at white. Paste, and it's in there, so I'll show you what's going on here. So the color fade method does a color fade of color.green, and it takes the value and divides it by 1,000, right? Which would be the same thing as taking the value and dividing it by the duration. I just hard-coded 1,000 in there because that's how long I want it to go. I want it to go for 1,000 milliseconds. All right, so if you watch what happens now, it fades to white instead of fading to clear. And I don't like that. I want it to go clear. And color fade, like I said, color fade fades to white, and I want it to be clear. So that's where the alpha channel comes in. And this whole property now, right there, is the alpha channel. Right now it's 1 when it first pops up, but as this value gets closer to the duration, as it counts up to it, see, because the duration is 1,000, the value starts at 0 and goes to 1,000, and then divides by 1,000, it gets closer and closer to 0, which is transparent. Because that's how math works or something. That's what people tell me. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope this is useful. If you did find it useful, leave a like. If you didn't find it useful and you have some questions, leave a comment. I'm usually pretty quick to respond. And if you just don't like me, let me know down in the comments, and I'll try to do better next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.